Hello everyone, welcome to National Focus. I'm your presenter Tarnia Green. It's always a pleasure to have you join us. Coming up on National Focus, Dominica's attorneys at law gathered for an ecumenical service to mark the start of the 2012-2013 law year. Dominica's new head of state calls for national cooperation from all citizens to continue the mission of nation building, and DLP leader advised members to strive to assume positions of influence and leadership. Stay tuned as I bring you the details of these and other stories when National Focus returns. Welcome back. Time now for the details of the news. Joining the ranks of a small but illustrious group of men who have headed this state, His Excellency Eliud Williams took his oath of office on Monday as Dominica's newest president. The ceremony was attended by the Prime Minister, the Cabinet, former presidents, the Speaker and members of the House of Assembly, members of the Diplomatic Corps, members of the Williams family, and other distinguished guests. The 64-year-old father of two boys who hails from St. Joseph comes to the office of president after a long and distinguished career in public service to Dominica and the region. He was permanent secretary to a number of ministries, most recently the Ministry of Communications, Works and Housing from 2000 to 2004. President Williams, who holds a master's in business administration with distinction from the University of the West Indies, up until his appointment worked as senior consultant for Whitco Incorporated. Also on his long list of achievements is his directorship of the Eastern Caribbean Telecommunications Authority, ECTEL, where he was responsible for policy formulation, management, telecommunications, liberalization, and a host of other duties. President Williams holds membership in many professional bodies, including the Chartered Management Institute, the Institute for Financial Accountants in the United Kingdom, and the International Management Associates Network in Canada. Under the chairmanship of Cabinet Secretary Ambassador Steve Farrell, the ceremony began with the Bishop of the Diocese of Roseau, His Lordship Gabriel Malzer, praying a blessing on the leadership of President Williams. His Lordship Justice Brian Cottle administered the President's oath of office.
I, Eliud Thaddeus Williams, do swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the Commonwealth of Dominica without fear or favor, affection or ill will, and that in the execution of the functions of that office, I will honor, uphold, and preserve the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Dominica. So help me God.
His Excellency Eliud Thaddeus Williams accepted his new role with words of hope, saying that all things are possible.
As we approach the 34th anniversary of our independence, I am proud to look out across our beautiful country and see just how far we have come in so little time. So many of us have worked hard and long to develop this country that we can all be proud of what we have built. In little more than one generation, we have built roads and bridges. We have built businesses and industries. We have built communities and churches. And we have built alliances at home and abroad. In short, we have built a nation. I look at all that we have done, and I know that through God's grace, all things are possible. It has been my honor to develop my working life to the service of our nation, and it is my singular privilege to be called to the service of our country and its people as President of the Commonwealth of Dominica. My fellow citizens, despite all we have done, there is still much work left to be done.
The new president also called for national cooperation from all citizens to continue the mission of building Dominica. With that said, President Williams articulated his commitment to the task ahead.
Today, I make a commitment to safeguard the laws and governance system of our country. And I ask for your commitment. I ask for a commitment from you as well, to continue to build upon the work we have done. That is, work with our communities. Work, I ask you to, with your representatives in Parliament, so that we can build a better Dominica. As we continue on our path of development, we will have the opportunity to make many choices. But never let us forget that with each of these opportunities come responsibilities. Responsibilities to ourselves and to each other. We must come to understand ourselves, to know where we are strong and where we are weak. And we must use what we learn, where we can make the greatest contribution to improve ourselves and our communities and to achieve true excellence as a nation.
Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit addressed the ceremony and spoke of the flawless character of President Williams.
Much has been said in recent weeks and again today relative to the impeccable character, scholastic and professional achievements of our distinguished new head of state. I wish to publicly associate with the expressions of admiration for the accomplishments of Mr. Williams, for, like most of us in Dominica, he hailed from humble beginnings and has amassed an enviable record of success through commitment, perseverance, and hard work. One former Caribbean leader once called on his citizens to develop a positive mirror image of themselves. He called on them to choose carefully the type of people they emulated as role models for society. I wish to suggest this evening that were we to look around Dominica today, there are no greater manifestations of excellence than are to be found in the lives of our outgoing and incoming presidents.
Prime Minister Skerrit, on behalf of the people of Dominica, expressed thanks to outgoing President His Excellency Nicholas Liverpool for what he called superb leadership.
President Liverpool, on behalf of the government and people of Dominica, I say a heartfelt thank you for service so superbly rendered to our country. Thanks also to Mrs. Liverpool for your service in the role of First Lady and also for supporting so ably our retiring President during his tour of duty. President and Mrs. Liverpool, Dominica will forever be in your debt.
Mr. Williams was elected President of Dominica by the House of Assembly on Monday, 17 September 2012, in accordance with the provisions of Section 19 of the Constitution of Dominica. Dominica's attorneys at law gathered at the Roman Catholic Chapel at the St. Gerald's Hall on Tuesday for an ecumenical service to mark the start of the 2012-2013 law year. Bishop of Roseau, His Lordship Gabriel Malzer, delivered the sermon at Tuesday morning's ceremony.
You are occupying a very privileged position in our society, a very honorable position. And it is not because, it was not by mistake that Jesus put such concentration on lawyers, and even St. Paul did in his expose. It is because that such people like yourselves, that you're carrying a significant load, as you will understand better than I would, in the context of a democracy in which we live, how important law is.
Songs at Tuesday's service were led by the Voices of Justice Choir. Following the morning service, the attorneys paraded from the chapel along the Dame Eugenia Charles Boulevard to the High Court, where Justice Bernice Brooke Stevenson inspected a guard of honor. Inside the court, members of the judiciary and officers of the court listened intently to the acting Chief Justice of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court, Honorable Justice Janice Pereira. This was the first time in the history of the regional court that a female has held that position, and it was her first address since assuming that position.
It is indeed an honor and a privilege to serve our region in this capacity, and I pledge my commitment to continue the good work started by all my predecessors towards the administration and advancement of justice for the citizenry of the OECS and the wider Caribbean.
The acting Chief Justice indicated that while there are many challenges facing the region, including the judicial system, justice will continue to be served with a high level of efficiency within the region.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are currently living in extremely difficult economic times where sustainability demands that businesses responsibly manage limited resources and still remain productive. It is no different for us in the judiciary. The impact of the economic downturn is being felt in all our member states and territories, and no less so on the judiciary. The caseload of our courts has continued to increase steadily, which in turn has led to increased administrative costs in the face of shrinking budgets and decreased contributions. However, the judiciary of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court, although faced with resultant challenges, one of which is the absence of the optimum quota of judges, will continue to maintain its efficiency with the available resources. I wish to emphasize that the quality of justice will not be compromised, not even in these harsh and difficult economic times. With that commitment, the judiciary has embarked on several initiatives to help improve efficiency in the face of the worldwide economic adversity, which has impacted our member states and territories.
GIS News will bring you more details of the acting Chief Justice's address at the start of the new law year in Wednesday's newscast. In more news, political leader of the Dominica Labour Party, Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, has attributed the success of his party to the unwavering commitment and service of its members. The political leader showered praise on the party's membership when he addressed the DLP's third annual award ceremony in Grand Bay last Sunday.
Today, Labour has become synonymous with leadership in many villages across Dominica. Not only have you championed the cause of this great party, but you have served with distinction in several social, sporting, educational, and recreational groupings. Even in the dark days of our being in opposition, you were on the village councils, the church committees, the friendly societies, the cricket, football, and other sporting organizations. You have been leaders, respected and able leaders, and that has been the secret to the success of the Labour Party over the years.
Though encouraged by the overwhelming support, the DLP leader has challenged party supporters to desist from becoming complacent and re-energize themselves to continue to serve at the highest level. The political leader advised members to strive to assume positions of influence and leadership in their respective communities. He says the party must continue to represent an image of hope and reassurance.
People must know who they can turn to for guidance, advice, support, and sometimes just a listening ear. In the year 2012, we must reinvent ourselves as a political party. We cannot be there to attend only to the political and material needs of our neighbors. We have to go further and represent the image of hope, strength, and reassurance. People must know who the Laborites are in a community, and by extension, to whom they can turn in virtually any crisis situation. That is what must distinguish us from the others. We have to strive to be seen in our respective communities as caring and loving people.
Honorable Skerrit took time to personally recognize and thank the many DLP stalwarts who continue to be a solid foundation for the party of which he is the head. 33 supporters of the Dominica Labour Party were recognized for their unwavering support to the party. Young men of Dominica are being called upon to be advocates for positive change. That call was made at a Youth Skills Training Program graduation ceremony recently by Acting Minister for Youth Affairs, Honorable Kelva Daru. Honorable Daru stressed the need for Dominica's young men to make greater strides in their self-development. Honorable Daru said the Youth Skills Division's training program gives them that opportunity.
Our young men literally may have become an endangered species. But I believe through the skill training program, it has provided an opportunity and an avenue that can get our young men back on track. And through the skills that our young men have acquired, it is important, young men, that you do not sit on it, but you go out there, you go on the blocks, and you tell the other young men about what you have learned, and you encourage them. And that is a challenge for you young men. Ensure that you become an advocate so that other young men can take advantage of these opportunities. Because we need to ensure that the future of this country is properly secured. And I believe the role that our young men have to play is a significant role in the development of this country. But you have to do it for yourselves, you have to push yourselves, and you have to continue to make the right choices.
Meanwhile, the youth of the island have been implored to develop their skills in order to become more marketable in the advent of the Caribbean Single Market and Economy, the CSME. Honorable Ambrose George, who was representing Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit at that function, made the appeal.
While government hopes that you will place your skills at the service of Dominica, I want to draw to your attention that there is now a wider economic space within which you can operate. That space now includes the OECS and the wider CARICOM region. It is therefore possible to think of a company offering a range of services based on your skills, operating throughout the region. In preparing yourselves for these possibilities, it will be important that you seek to enhance your abilities to respond to invitations for tendering in costing and pricing as these relate to various service contracts.
In more news, Parliamentary Representative for the Portsmouth constituency, Honorable Ian Douglas, envisions a bright future for the town of Portsmouth. Minister Douglas was speaking at the construction site of the new Cabrit Resort and Spa following a visit to 11 newly constructed houses for residents of that area. Subsequent to disclosing to GIS News that a major project is planned to create a bayfront protection scheme for Portsmouth waterfront, Honorable Douglas spoke of his vision to make Portsmouth a first-class town.
It's our vision that we will make Portsmouth a first-rate West Indian town of the level of any industrialized and development country in the region. And we want to bring down perhaps a major building here where we can have the services so our residents and those of the north, people coming from Penville and Vickers and Bens, do not have to go all the way up to the capital, Roseau, to get a birth paper, to get a passport, to get a driver's license, to pay their income tax, to do stuff with inland revenue, and a host of other services.
In more news, plans are afoot for schools to be better equipped to deal with deviant behavior. That assurance has come from Education Minister Honorable Peter Saint-Jean. The minister stated this while addressing principals across the country at a recent principals meeting.
The Ministry of Education and Human Resource Development is looking to implement a plan of action that was developed last year aimed at addressing the problem by going into the schools to help our teachers better manage behavior. We've been dealing with this problem, but right now I think the time has come when we must be proactive and get into the schools. Development of a behavior policy by officers of the ministry is currently underway. But the Ministry of Education needs your support to make this thing happen.
Directions have been handed down to increase manpower within the committee to address deviant behavior.
To deal with the issue of crime, violence, deviance, misbehavior, inappropriate behavior, I've directed my permanent secretary that rather than dealing with a one-man committee, there is need to augment this committee to 3 or 4 individuals. And I've instructed that additional individuals be brought on so that we have a committee that can really go out there and face that problem head on. We must save the young people of Dominica.
And finally, this news time, a panel discussion on the topic OECS integration and its implications for the public service will take place on Wednesday, September 19, as activities for the observance of Public Service Day 2012 continues. Panelists will be discussing issues relating to labor and employment, trade and education with relation to the public service. The discussion is carded to take place at the Public Service Training Center from 4:30 p.m. The public is specially invited to attend. The theme for the observance of Public Service Day 2012 is Our Public Service Transforming, Modernizing, Positively Changing. And that's the English segment of the news. We now join McPherson St. Luce for the Creole highlights.
Alors tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en Creole. Non, moi, c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, Premier ministre Honorable Roosevelt Skerritt, qui est aussi chef Labour Party Dominique, a reconnaissé son portant Labour Party comme monde qui n'a autant d'expérience et puis bon comportement, qui déjà fait une bonne contribution pour force plus gros parti politique en Dominique, Dominica Labour Party. Honorable Skerritt fait ses paroles pendant qu'il était délivré l'adresse en awards ceremony pour Labour dimanche à Gombe. Honorable Skerritt aussi servi occasion là pour remercier toutes ces 1000 Dominicains là qui ont continué à supporter Labour Party et puis en bonne fondation. Premier ministre a dit parti là qui continue à recogniser contribution sur portail et puis bien parler continuer travail en l'intérieur et puis pays là en général. Les Labour Party Dominique a considéré comme plus gros parti politique en Dominique à présent. Parti là présenté award pour plusieurs monde qui déjà fait une contribution pour le développement Dominique et puis pour parti là. En notre nouvelle, Dominique Monchin et puis plusieurs pays ont atteint les semaines pour observer Montreal Protocol. Ça, c'est pour mettre attention à ce ozone layer. Selon le ministre environ, Honorable Dr. Kenneth Darrow, ozone layer autant important qu'à protéger la vie monde, hors bagaille, qui a sorti hors soleil là.
Nous avons célébré le 25e anniversaire de notre Montreal Protocol. Montreal Protocol, c'est un protocole international qui nous a dit qu'il y a plus de succès. Parce qu'il y a plus de 190 pays qui filment le protocole. C'est un bon exemple. C'est la pays. La monde mette tête ensemble avec d'accord, yo voulait faire bagaille. Montreal Protocol, ça c'est un bon exemple. Parce que pour aujourd'hui, tous ces 196 pays qui a filmé, yo jamais été mis en place avec comment on doit se parler contre loi nous a mis pour substances qui a déployé ozone layer. Il y avait tous ces pays ça venu ça avait mis bagaille en place because nous recognize que si nous partons pour action pour l'année 2050 nous peut-être que perdre plus que 70% ozone layer avec comme ça avec beaucoup tout le monde savent ozone layer c'est un layer à l'air qui a protégé qui a protégé la terre hot, ça nous a créé ultraviolet rays, hot soleil là. Et bien c'est ça, I mean, you can faire patch destruction. C'est scientists j'ai trouvé que c'est ça qui cause skin cancer. OK, et bien low dot bitter, OK, qui a damagé l'écosystème, biodiversité, qui a affecté toute bagaille. So si Montreal protocole ça pas venir en place, et bien monde d'accord si vous tenez pour faire un step pour manager substances qui affectent aux zones comme on dit en 20 années 23 années encore nous peut-être que perdre 70% aux zones et bien ça et bien quand le compte ça peut être incompatible avec la vie à la terre.
En notre nouvelle, police Dominica remercie France pour traitement yo recevoir ka consigner surveillance. Ça c'est manière pour combattre drogue illégale qui a trafiqué en pays là. Selon officier police Delvin John Luce, yo que rester en forme goumé au compte drogue illégale qui a trafiqué.
Honorable Councilor, nous les remercier France, gouvernement France avait ambassade en cette lycée avait Sifad pour entraînement là. Nous lui disons un grand merci pour eux parce que l'entraînement c'est un bon entraînement et nous pouvons dire qu'il pas longtemps aujourd'hui pour nous avoir d'autres training. Vous comprenez, McPherson?
Mais finalement, est-ce que vous faites pas pour que quelqu'un joue avec le monde qui a poussé?
Non, nous pas jamais qu'à jouer avec le monde. Ça nous a dit c'est quand tant qu'à passer. Moun ka vendre drogue, moun ka faire bitin crime, ka venir plus professionnel là-bas. So nous même ni pour faire quoi nous plus professionnel aussi. So comme on dit nous pas qu'à jouer avec eux. So nous ni plus manière, plus technique pour garder compte.
Et puis finalement, en discussion qui mettait attention à cette intégration au ICS et puis implication pour service public qui prend place mercredi, ça c'est demain, qu'on activité pour service public à continuer. Discussion celle-là qu'a essayé d'éditer officier public qu'a consigné assemblée ou ICS avec ça qui prend place un Public Service Training Center en Roseau qu'a commencé à 4h30 après-midi. Plusieurs officiers qui fait présentation à ces affaires commodité, éducation en parmi d'autres. Chairman pour meeting celle-là qui officier ministre des Affaires de l'autre pays, Madame Sonia Akpa. D'autres monde qui fait contribution, c'est secrétaire cabinet Steve Ferrol, Thomas Layton Horde, Public Service Union, Darren Grell, et puis Dr. Donald Peters, Horde State College de la Dominique. Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelle en créole pour à présent. Non moins, c'est McPherson St. Luce. Au revoir.
When we come back, we'll bring you the tip of the day. Today, we'll share with you a few healthy nutrition tips for better oral health. Avoid foods with high concentration of sugar, for example, cakes, ice cream, and honey. Don't forget that many refreshments and soft drinks have a high concentration of sugar. Although diet soft drinks do not contain sugar, they do contain acids and can damage tooth enamel. Prefer foods rich to nutritious ingredients but without sugar, for example, milk, yogurt, rice, meat, fish, and fruit. And that's National Focus. As usual, we invite your suggestions and your comments. Please feel free to drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm, or you could visit our website at news.gov.dm. You could also visit the GIS Dominica page on both YouTube and Facebook. On behalf of the news production team, I'm your presenter, Tarnia Green. Thank you so much for watching, and do remember to join us again tomorrow.